What's going on, guys? My name is Wade with Tech Daily, and in this video, we are checking out the new Motorola Moto G Stylus 5G. Now, if you feel like you've got a little bit of deja vu, like you've seen this phone before, you're not wrong. Motorola did release a new Moto G Stylus for 2021 back in January, and now, barely 6 months later, they've come out with this one. Obviously, this new Moto G Stylus has the 5G support and distinction, along with a few other random changes that sort of end up making it a different device from the original. And I'm going to go over what's changed, what's new, and also what's basically the same too, and everything else you need to know about this phone in this video. First things first though, let's just go ahead and quickly unbox it and see what all comes inside the package when you buy one. Slicing the sticker and pulling off the lid of the box here, the first thing we do get is the phone itself, of course. We'll put that to the side for just a minute. And as far as what else comes included, inside the first little cardboard packet is your usual selection of paperwork, a quick start guide, and a SIM ejector tool there as well. You do still get a USB-A to USB-C charging cable paired up with Motorola's 10-watt charging brick. So that's all the stuff that comes inside the package. Here is the new Moto G Stylus 5G once again. And right off the bat, you can see that this new phone does now come in a brand new color, Cosmic Emerald. And I believe this is the only fit and finish this device is available in. Physically, this new Moto G Stylus 5G doesn't look that different from the original, but there are a couple of things worth mentioning. Size-wise, we're dealing with the same 6.8-inch form factor, the same corner hole punch selfie camera cutout up front, similar bottom chin, and essentially the same 85% screen-to-body ratio we saw before. It's relatively slim bezels bordering a fairly tall, large display, and in the hand, once again, this is a very big, beefy device. That's great if you love watching your content on such a large screen, but just keep in mind that one-handed use can be a bit of a stretch at times. As far as the design and the materials, this is once again an all-plastic build, but like I mentioned earlier, the Cosmic Emerald Green colorway is exclusive to this phone. And honestly, I think this is a pretty great looking finish. It almost looks like an emerald jewel with a subtle shine, mix of dark and light shades, and the plastic material actually feels thicker, sturdier, and more high quality than some other smartphone plastics, which is kind of nice. Also, this Moto G Stylus 5G is what Motorola describes as water repellent, so a splash of water shouldn't hurt it at all. And all in all, I think this is a pretty well-built, good-looking device from start to finish. It's nothing new, just more of a refresh if anything else. Taking a closer look around, on the left side, you'll find the SIM and SD card tray. Expandable storage is available on this phone, which is great to see. On the right, there's a textured power button paired with the usual volume buttons. Down below, the headphone jack remains, alongside the USB-C charging port, single speaker setup, and the stylus, of course, which is what this phone is all about. And I'll demo that in just a minute. Around back, that famous Motorola dimple fingerprint sensor combo is still there, alongside a redesigned quad lens camera setup. And before we get into the specs and all the important stuff, let me just quickly demo the speaker and fingerprint sensor so you can see what those are all about. With the fingerprint sensor, this is something I'm glad to still have on a device like this. The physical sensor is obviously very easy to feel for and find. Around back, it has that little inlay so you know exactly where it is. It's quick and it's accurate and almost instantaneously retries if it happens to miss you the first time. It's something I think Motorola should just keep on having on all their smartphones. Also, what's sort of interesting, this is one of a few Motorola devices this year with face unlock as well. Motorola, for whatever reason, seems to remove or add this unlocking method at random depending on the device. This phone got it and it works pretty well. It's maybe a little slower than the fingerprint sensor at times, but either way, pairing both unlocking methods, I think you'll be able to get into this phone rather quickly. Now, for those of you hoping to maybe get a better viewing experience on the Moto G Stylus 5G, that isn't the case. And in fact, we have almost the same exact screen setup as the original phone. The 6.8-inch display is an IPS LCD panel coming in at a resolution of 2400 by 1080 and packing in around 387 pixels per inch. Certainly great great to have such a large display for watching movies and whatnot. Inside, the new Moto G Stylus 5G does get a different processor, now powered by the Qualcomm Snapdragon 480 5G chipset, the Adreno 619 GPU, and 6 gigs of RAM, like I said earlier. And if you're maybe comparing numbers, the Moto G Stylus from January did have a Snapdragon 678 inside, but it wasn't a 5G chipset. And technically, even though this 480 5G is lower in numbers, it's not a worse processor. It's, I guess, actually slightly better, as weird as it sounds. And honestly, out of the box, this device does feel fairly fast and fluid. It has the Android 11 update, which is nice, covered in Motorola's own Android skin, something I think you're probably used to seeing if you're a Motorola user. Now, one thing that did actually change significantly for the better is the battery capacity inside this phone. You now have a fairly large 5,000 milliamp battery inside the new Moto G Stylus 5G compared to 4,000 milliamps in the previous phone. And that, I think, is substantial enough to yield a difference in longevity. So the main reason you'd probably consider the Moto G Stylus right now is, of course, for its stylus support. There's a built-in pen at the bottom of the phone that you can use with some stylus-specific apps and add-ons. It's probably the one and only reason you'd even consider this device when compared to Motorola's dozens of other smartphones. The actual pen itself is the same simple metal pointer tool we've had before. It has a clicky top, but no actual buttons, no Bluetooth functionality. It's nothing more than a generic metal pointer with a soft rubber tip. And its primary function is as an extension of your finger. You can of course use the stylus to tap, touch, and swipe your way through the phone, which I know some people like to do. But what's unique about the Moto G Stylus on the software side of things are the little extra stylus add-ons and apps you'll see pop up on the screen when you pull the stylus out. There's the same Motorola coloring book, which is nice to pass the time, the Notes app, the screenshot shortcut and editor, GIF creator, Google Keep Note support, and you can of course customize the little stylus menu to add and rearrange whatever apps you want easy access to, whether they're stylus related or not. In using the stylus, you'll also find that there is still that noticeable delay between the line on the screen and where your pen is actually touching, so that takes some getting used to. And overall, like I said, the stylus experience and stylus tech, it's all basically the same as we've had in years past. But let me sum up everything by saying that this new Motorola Moto G Stylus 5G is in some ways better than the original 2021 Moto G Stylus from January. It's got 5G network support, if that's something you can utilize, more RAM and storage, a better processor, bigger battery, but some things, like the screen, remained exactly the same. Also, the stylus setup, the whole point of this phone, didn't get any upgrades or otherwise change at all, which I think is a big miss. Is this phone worthy of upgrading if you already have the 2021 Moto G Stylus? Probably not. It's only been 6 months after all, but if you have a previous Motorola phone or older Moto G Stylus, I think it makes more sense to just jump up to this one instead now. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video though, and I'll see you guys later.